Lineker not so long ago, you will recall, was basically had to leave the BBC much earlier than he had planned because he liked and got involved in a blatantly anti-Semitic tweet. He said afterwards he liked it and it was clearly anti-Semitic. It used a trope, an image of a rat to depict Jews. He said, "Oh, I had no idea about this. I didn't mean it." But he had to leave earlier. Make no mistake, Gary Lineker left the BBC early under an anti-Semitic cloud. He was going to, as a last-ditch resort, he was going to broadcast for the BBC the World Cup. He was going to go and cover the World Cup in America, for the Soccer World Cup, of course, for the BBC, but because of his tweet, he had to go early. Well, he's done a deal now with Netflix, Peter. It's worth £14 million, and he's off to New York, where he will podcast the 2026 World Cup and pocket £14 million, which dwarfs his BBC salary by a long, long way. He earned about $1,300,000 a year at the BBC, so this is about 12 years worth of money for one World Cup. So good for him, I suppose. I hope he enjoys his money. But, you know, he's no fan of Donald Trump. Donald Trump doesn't like anti-Semitism. Donald Trump's busy banning countries right now from competing in the American World Cup, like Senegal, because he says they're rogue states. So on Donald Trump's map, I would say Gary Lineker is a rogue person. So what I'm saying is, why doesn't the president ban Gary Lineker from going to New York?
Well, the US of A are talking about checking 5 years of social media posts to see whether they're going to let anybody into America or not. So Mr. Lineker might find himself with an issue or two there. Let me rewind a few short years when I had the huge misfortune to work with Gary Lineker for a day.
Oh, did you?
Yes. I was part of an online advertising campaign for a certain snacks company, which Lineker had worked for years.
Right.
There was me.
Walker's Crisps.
Yeah, and it was some of their other product, Monster Munch. I remember was one, and Quavers and all of that. So on this day, the on-screen people were to be me, Lineker, and an absolutely beautifully bonkers, crazy, wonderful inventor called Colin Furze, who is absolutely joyously bonkers and brilliant. And
well, like a mad professor type. Yeah.
He puts
crazy boffin.
He puts jet engines on armchairs, for example, right? And then, you know, flies down a runway at ridiculous speed and all that stuff. And he and his most beautiful, charming wife made me feel really special for the day. They were wonderful. Lineker turned up late. Okay, so that doesn't put me in the best frame of mind, because I think
this is the film a commercial. Right?
Yes, for online, Colin Furze. I came up with ideas as to where to hide snacks. Colin Furze invented them and made them. Yeah, and then Lineker had to come and find them. That was basically it. So Lineker turns up late, which is really not a great start. It puts the entire production team under pressure. And so that's really not very helpful. Yeah. He then strutted around Mr. Furze's house as though he owned it, and he didn't. And at one point, he was so rude to a junior member of staff that I felt like getting off my backside, because I was sitting down, and challenging him over it. Just as I was contemplating doing that, a producer came in, they moved it on, and I'm thinking, you know what, Blex, you're here for a day's work. Should you dig him out for it now? I think I should have done, and it's a matter of regret that I didn't. But anyway, he was just odious. At one point, I engaged him in conversation about my all-time footballing hero, and he was utterly dismissive of it. He was just horrible.
Because you're a big football fan. I say football, you support QPR, so that's a moot point. But you wanted to talk football with him. If I met Gary Lineker, I've met Gary Lineker, I'd want to talk football with him. I want to say this. I mean, first of all, I've got to say, Gary's not here to defend himself, so it's only fair we point that out. But I've never had a problem with him as a football pundit, as a football commentator, as a football presenter. He knows his stuff. But I have a problem with his politics. I have a problem with his belief that he could use his BBC platform to promote his personal political beliefs. And he's off to New York, where he will be hosting The Rest Is Football. He's got this franchise of podcasts called The Rest Is. Alistair Campbell and Rory Stewart are on his label, The Rest Is Politics. So they've got The Rest Is History. Anyway, there's The Rest Is Football. That will be him, Misha Richards and Alan Shearer off to New York, where they're going to earn a fortune, particularly. So Gary has done extremely well out of his podcast company. But as you say, Peter, Donald Trump's getting very, very strict on who's being allowed into America. As you say, they're all going to check social media posts for the past 5 years. I'm pretty certain that quite a lot of Gary Lineker's posts will not be flattering to Donald Trump. Add that to his anti-Semitism problems, alleged anti-Semitism problems, I should say, and maybe, just maybe, old Trump, you know what he's like, don't give him a visa, you can't come in.
I agree, Lineker is a very talented broadcaster, but from my experience of him, he's not a likeable person.
Yeah, I find that disappointing. I mean, I've met him a few times. He seems to be a smiley, decent enough. He's friendly enough to me, but I don't like what he's got up to, and it sort of just feels like he's just one of these people who walks on water. He's lost his £1.35 million a year BBC salary and walked straight in to a £14 million deal from Netflix. This is Netflix's first foray into live sport, into the World Cup.
Yeah, and good luck to him, but I'll never be a guest on his podcast, that's for sure.
I don't think you will now. The rest is not Peter Bleksley, yeah. No. I mean, going back to his behaviour, it was unconscionable. Do you remember when he brought the Match of the Day to a standstill because all the fellow commentators walked out in support and all that,
Yeah.
He really, I do feel, again, he's not here to defend himself, but I do feel he abused his position as a much-loved football presenter on Match of the Day to promote his own political opinions, his left-wing sort of typical London bubble opinions.
The great danger of anybody who reaches any height of popularity with a public profile is when they start believing their own publicity. That's when they're in bother. And I think Mr. Lineker probably did that, probably overreached through his own self-importance, his position, and so the BBC found that it was time for him to go. But anyway.
In the end, but Tim Davie, he's still actually just about the Director General of the BBC, but Tim Davie just kept caving into him, didn't he? It's just saying, right, OK, you can do... As long as you... The BBC presenters being utterly banned from tweeting anything political because of Gary Lineker, that rule was changed to say, well, as long as you don't work for the news department, you can tweet your own opinions. Well, I think you have to be careful about that. I mean, this company allows me to tweet my own opinions, but there are things I could tweet that I think would upset them. You've got to be careful here.
Talking of football, will England win the World Cup next year?
That's a very good question. Let me just think about this for... No! I don't... The way it's looking, they won't even get out of their qualifying group, will they? Got bloody Croatia again. How many more times are going to play Croatia?
And they always perform very well at World Cups.
Ghana, I think, are no fools either, are they?
Yeah.
Who's the other team we've got?
Pass.
Trying to remember. Anyway, we've got quite a strong group. Willing, it's a good question. 034